I've talked about maps and cartography. I've talked about a lot of the analytics, but I've also suggested to you earlier on that GIS is becoming 3D. And here there are literally hundreds of tools that are allowing us to extract features and look at them in a 3D setting across organizations. I want to share some of the work that we've been doing here in visualization, making things more realistic, supporting new data formats coming in from new sources, being able to do 3D editing, and 3D analytics. We saw some of that with the PG&E folks a few minutes ago. The last one is the ability to connect ArcGIS to immersive technology like the game engines, like Unity and Unreal. I showed a little bit of that, I think, this morning, but I'll show some more, and you'll see it throughout the day. This is going to open up new user groups for the kind of data that you maintain. And it's also going to create a foundation for visualization of digital twins. Look, this is Boston. It was flown a couple of weeks ago with one of our partners. This is just an aerial photography, but processed into a 3D digital twin. Some of you are familiar with Boston, but this 3D base map picture is here shown integrated in with the vector data of Boston, like bus routes, or, isn't it beautiful, actually? I mean, it's so stunning. Okay. I'm zooming in and I'm seeing a 3D building, a BIM model, resting inside of this 3D picture. That's extraordinary. It means that I can mix vector and raster and building information all into one information set. And I can integrate it in with the rest of my GIS. This is a skyline of Boston. The red areas are showing the most recent buildings that are built. And you can see Boston Commons, those of you know it. It's kind of the central park of Boston. And so the vector attributes of these buildings are shown behind this 3D picture. And I can go underground. I can look here at water lines, actually. So I want to get across this notion that we're moving to 3D GIS, and we'll be maintaining it with BIM updates and feature updates, and it'll bring in all of the various information. This is a 3D condominium with 3D zoning. I can zoom right into this particular building and look at rooms and so on. Isn't it cool? And by the way, here's crime. Real-time crime in Boston. It's not really real-time, but it could be. So that you see overlays of information. And, okay, you already understand what this is going to do. I can also do land use planning, like using ArcGIS on Urban to mock up what the 3D zoning envelopes are. And looking at these 3D zoning envelopes, I'm looking into the future, being able to communicate effectively in a game engine environment with citizens. Look at realistic renderings of these very same buildings. This is not fantasy land. This is actually technology that exists. Well, okay, maybe it's a little fantasy, but it's certainly, the technology is not. For some of you, okay, maps were it. Some of you, analytics were it. Some of you, 3D was it. And then there's another huge and growing community where imagery and remote sensing is it. And inside of ArcGIS, there's hundreds of image analytics and visualization tools. The imagery capability work falls really into 5 big groups. First, inside of the Living Atlas, we have content, 120 different layers of information we bring in from multiple sources, like commercial imagery sources or Landsat or Sentinel data. You can glance through the list. Also, there's a massive capability to manage at scale very large data sets, cataloging them. And this fall, we're integrating in video servers. This means I can take all kinds of video and stream it right into my image system, kind of like what you do with you know, with Disney's videos. Streaming services is what I'm talking about. Also, there are hundreds of tools to do analytics. I showed you some of that with GeoAI, pull features out of the imagery and then visualize them. But the fifth one up here is dubbed reality mapping. What is that? What's reality mapping? It's being able to take imagery and make it into those 3D images like I just showed you in Boston. And over the last couple of years, we've been investing in our Stuttgart research section in this program. It's about taking aircraft or drone imagery, or in a few weeks, satellite information, and processing these 3D representations. Now, conceptually, this is about linking photogrammetry, people who make maps and imagery, to GIS, so that from these sources, we can literally create GIS-ready products for visualization like I just showed you here. Lots of interesting outputs. And these are, like I say, not just aircraft, but I can fly a drone, I can take these reality images and then apply them against, for example, my whole city sphere. We'll see real demonstrations of this in a few minutes, but it's fun, isn't it? This idea that I can take pictures and do transactions on my 3D city. Wow! It's very, very cool. And yet for others, ArcGIS represents a platform for integrating BIM and CAD and engineering information into a system, connecting it with GIS. And we have 3 projects that we're working on, have been working on for some years. One is working closely with that engineering community to access directly BIM files and different kinds of CAD drawings. Just bring them in to Pro and make them available as part of a GIS system. Second is working closely with Autodesk Corporation. We've linked ArcGIS features inside of Enterprise and Online to Autodesk documents in their cloud system. So I can touch a feature on the map and bring up the document that the engineers are working on. And finally, we now can support services inside of all of the Autodesk engineering products. So it means maps get integrated into the engineering workflows. This will transform from design all the way through construction work, and we'll see some exercises showing that. But I'm excited about this because once again, it's about expanding out and connecting. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's good. ArcGIS provides a platform for space and building management. This is now known as indoors. It's about taking GIS into the indoor space, managing spaces more effectively. It's taking your tradecraft and applying it to the buildings that we have, and we have literally thousands of users who are beginning to do this. Not just a single building like hospitals, but also for entire college campuses or campuses. And one of the secrets in this is IPS, the indoor positioning capability, to take the little green dot indoors, you know, you're outdoors, my iPhone, I just take it indoors, and I know where I'm at. Okay, not that I need to say, I said that wrong. Anyway, I can not only know where I'm at in the building, but also I can navigate. I can do little routing like you do in a, in a commercial routing system. Lots of new work going on here, and also in the field world. Many of you use things like field maps or Survey 123 or Quick Capture to capture information. This is a wonderful set of tools for tabular survey or feature surveys, but it connects. We need to remember that it connects with enterprise databases like we saw with PG&E. So it's feeding the field workers and capturing the information from the field, synchronizing the office with the field. Very powerful.